Still yelling who's house down with the best team. Get them on the field, ain't no stressing. We reppin' that blue star. Cowboy fans in California always going on. SC, BC, FC. Still yelling who's house down with the best team. Get them on the field, ain't no stressing. We reppin' that blue star. Cowboy fans in California.
We back, baby. So that was the first time, I think this is probably our, 7th intro song we've used?
Oh, yeah.
At least 7th time we've used it. I don't know. I didn't mind it. I think that is for, LA Cowboys fans. We need to make our own Canadian version of that song, possibly. I don't know.
Who would be the one that would be singing it, Alex?
Alex, no.
Yeah.
We definitely know Alex. Anyways, enough about the intro. Speaking of intros, we have JC Allen. What up, JC? And actually, he's popping our cherry here. He is our first what would you call it? Opponent of another team that we've ever had on the cast. This is a first. It could get heated. There might be swear words said at each other. We don't even know, but we are excited, and thanks for being on, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy to chop it up, talk some football. It's back, baby, finally. This offseason has been forever to finally get a game that meant something that really wasn't a game, if you want to call it that. But it's back. We're here. We're 2 days away from Sunday football, Sunday night football. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that last year we had we opened the season against you guys, and then this year we get a Sunday nighter. If it's anything like last year's game, which was an amazing game, I don't think you could have kicked off the season any better than last year. It sucked to lose to you guys, but it was amazing to see both those teams battle. But yeah, football season is back. I'm excited. I'm nervous a little bit. I know your team has a lot of question marks around. We have a shit ton of question marks around it.
Before we hop in, let's let our guest JC Allen here of Pewter Report.
Pewter Report.
There it is.
Right.
Just shout out your socials where people can find you, connect with you online.
Yeah, absolutely. JC Allen, ALLEN, NFL at Twitter, at Instagram. More active on my Twitter page. It's pretty much the one-stop shop for everything Bucs. If you guys want to venture onto that side and learn about the Buccaneers, feel free. Hey, I'm
All right.
I'm always, one to learn more about the NFL, kind of broaden my my knowledge of the entire league as a whole. So if you're one of those people and you want to learn some more about the Bucs, what they got going on, that's the spot to figure it out.
So were you a Bucs fan before Tom Brady was there? Just curious.
I'm actually not a Bucs fan at all. I am a Tom Brady fan.
Okay.
I was born in California, but moved up to Massachusetts when I was young. Lived there for almost my entire life. Moved down here in 2019, the year before Tom came, and then he followed me down here. He must have missed me or something. And then I kind of broke into this industry in 2020 randomly, kind of just fell into it. Never really had aspirations of it, but here I am covering the team, on a daily basis. Spoke with Tom yesterday, in and out of the locker room. Games are coming up, and I'll be at the games, and it's been a blast, really. Couldn't ask for anything more.
So that's crazy. So you literally you are associated with the team by job, basically, first.
Right.
Okay, I mean, that's kind of cool. So you're not going to send us death threats if we say anything too crazy. That's a good thing.
No.
That's a good thing.
No.
That's sweet, man. So you said yesterday you actually talked. So you get actually to interview some of the players. You get to be in the change room. So what was Tom saying? I'm kind of interested. He had kind of some weird shit going on in training camp. He was away from the team for a bit. He had a weird offseason where he retired for 40 days and came back. Does he seem like he's there and he's laser focused, ready to tango, or what?
Oh, yeah. Tom Brady, whatever he's got going on in his personal life, he is the ultimate compartmentalizer, if you will. He played when his mom had cancer in 2020. His dad was hospitalized with COVID. You would have never known. When it comes to football, he's laser focused, dialed in. And even, I would tell you what he told us the other day, but it was all just Tom Brady speak. He learned from the best in Bill Belichick and doesn't really give you much.
Yep.
But he's excited for the season to start. He's got a lot of trust in his offensive line. Julio Jones, the addition that they brought in. So I expect nothing but Tom Brady to be playing at a Tom Brady level, no matter what's going on. And obviously you see the tabloids coming out with things about his family life and stuff like that popping up. But if that's the case, if that's not the case, Tom's going to be able to push that all aside once it's time to practice, once it's time to get on the football field and take care of his business. And I'd expect nothing less than that from him.
Well, that's the scary thing about this game is you have Tom Brady, and most NFL fans or anyone that's ever watched a Cowboys game against Tom Brady, we've never beat Tom Brady. I believe he's
6-0.
Is he 6-0? Going.
Well, he'll
so
be
this is-
7-0 after Sunday.
He'll be 7-0
Oh,
after.
come on.
Hey, below the belt.
It's
Science.
I actually was lucky enough. Well, I shouldn't say lucky enough, but I got to watch Tom Brady live. I went down to Dallas.
You're lucky.
Man, if you're going to see the best, I'll say this. I'll give credit where credit was due. I always hated Brady, hated him, but it got to the point, how can you hate the guy that's not even arguably anymore the best NFL player that's ever played, right?
Man, if I could have seen Jordan play, like, I don't care. I'm a Celtics fan, and the Bulls and Celtics don't have a crazy rivalry, but if I would, I wish I got the chance to see Jordan play. I wish I got the chance to see Gretzky play, you know? So whether you love him, you hate him, whatever, I mean, the chance to see Tom Brady play, the best to have ever done it on a football field, you just got to take that in and enjoy, no matter if he's kicking your ass or what.
Right.
You just got to be able to set aside your fandom and put that aside and just be like, I'm watching the greatest of all time. And that doesn't happen often. You know, I would have liked to see Serena play, you know, this past at some point.
Yeah, she killed it. Are you worried that the elixir of life is possibly on its way out, though? Like, at some point, you see it with everyone. They come back and they play that last year, and it's kind of, maybe he should have stayed retired. Does he still have it in him? It just sometimes, especially at quarterback, you do have this. I think he's the oldest. He's going to be one of the oldest starting quarterbacks to ever do it coming into this Sunday night. Are you worried at all that it's just might be the year that it just all falls apart?
Tom Brady has found the fountain of youth. I don't know how he's done it. Him and Alex Guerrero drinking, avocado tequila.
He's drinking children's blood.
Yes,
He's drinking the blood of children.
The TB12 diet, the pliability stuff that he does. I don't know what he's done to be able to continue to play at a high level. This guy should have been the MVP. Let's put everything aside. He led the Bucs to the same record as the Packers and led the league in passing yards and touchdowns. How he didn't win the MVP last year is beyond me. I think people are sick of Tom Brady at this point. But I don't expect him to come in and throw 2,000 yards, 20 interceptions. It's not gonna happen, especially not with the talent around him on this team. So, while yes, as one of your commenters said, Father Time waits for no one. Brady has always had this goal to play till he was 45. He's prepared mentally, physically, emotionally. He's invested, and I don't expect to see anything less than Tom Brady playing at a Tom Brady level. Now, how far can he push that? I think this is probably his last year, but how far can he push that? I mean, let's face it, guys. If Tom Brady falls off, and let's just preface this by saying falls off, what is he going to be? Ryan Tannehill, Alex Smith type guy, a game manager at best. Like, it's not like he's going to fall off and all of a sudden become Tua Tagovailoa. He's still going to be a respectable quarterback.
Tom Brady is kind of the way that he plays the game, and he does have a deep ball. We've seen that a couple times, but like you just mentioned, he's a very good game manager ahead of that, and he's kind of like a heavyweight fighter where it's like you start to lose your skills, but the thing that really matters most in heavyweights, like power, it's like you don't, and yeah, of course, the brain smarts, but your speed might start to go down. Brady's never really relied on anything else but his like football smarts and his fucking ability to just like read the field. So if that's not going anywhere and he can still get that ball out of his hand.
He's still got zip, guys.
Yeah.
He's still got that zip. His release time is not going to be anything different than it was. If you watched that part of that Indianapolis game, he was still getting the ball out like that. His deep ball, we were watching him at practice. He was playing catch with Mike Evans off to the side. The trajectory, the arc on his football, 60 yards, 50 yards deep, it's still there. For some reason, because the way the Patriots offense worked for the longest time was just, quick passes, get the guys in space and let them do the work with the yards after the catch. When he came to Tampa, that changed, and he's led the league in deep ball passes, most completions of 20-plus yards since he joined the Bucs. So, like, that deep ball is still there. It's still on point, and he hasn't lost any zip on it either.
JC, we knew you were going to come with stats, and that's a good one. I love a good stat. So,
yeah, Kilo C in the chat saying that you also enjoy deep balls.
Alex loves the deep balls. He loves the deep balls hard and long. And it's Friday night, so you know he's going to be patrolling the town for some deep balls.
It's science.
So what we're going to do here, JC, I have a very high-tech board beside me to the left of me here.
That is fancy.
Took me actually all of 5 minutes to do with a random straight edge I found to quickly just do a little tee up here. So I think we can already kind of surpass the very first one. We have QB. Crack him if you got him, son. So around here, JC, we like to drink. Every time we crack,
cheers,
there
brother.
he is. So when you crack one of those open, you got to say crack him if you got him, son. Or you don't
Crack 'em
have
if
to,
you got
but
'em.
you have to do it. Yeah, there we go.
High Republic, official
There-
sponsor of Pewter Report podcast. Check it out at a
Hey,
liquor store near you.
If they need a Cowboys spot, no, just kidding. Anyway, so you got to the left here, Cowboys, Bucs, and then we got this column that has quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, linebacker, defensive line, cornerback, safety, special teams. So we're gonna kind of just go down just for the sake of conversation, and we're gonna see where we agree one team's strength and where one's weakness, or kind of where we don't agree at all. So it's just kind of obviously the first one's quarterback. We've already talked about Tom Brady. That's Tom Brady's getting that every time. I love Dak Prescott, but I can't even homer it enough to say that he gets the tick there. So we're going to start this off with quarterback is going to the Bucs. Next up, AJ, if you want to lead us out here, give us a little running back stats or what.
Are you not gonna like?
Well, I'm
check
going to while he's talking.
Yeah, I mean,
He's going to check. So we were looking at some running back comparisons here, and I'll just break down the kind of interesting highlights, and then we'll give you a chance here, JC, to hop in. So the Bucs running backs from last year, Fournette stats, 180 attempts, 812 yards, 4.5 average, which we always talk about the average being probably the most important stat.
About 5.5 inches.
8 touchdowns.
sorry to your wife.
No one said I said above average, Bucks.
8 touchdowns, 47 long, 69 receptions, which is huge. 450 yards and two tutties on that. So 10.
Buddies. Yep. He reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell. The way he runs, he's got a lot of patience to him. He's going to be something special, really something special. His ability to as a receiver is out of this world as well. I think that he's going to develop a very good 1-2 punch. I mean, he's a rookie, and he was named the starting, number 2 running back on the team. That's how good he's been, and I have high expectations for him this year. He's got high expectations for himself. Talking to Byron Leftwich, he said he's a rookie, but he's a grown man rookie. He's very mature. It took him no time at all. The guy.
Did you say that to all the boys?
The funny story about him is that when he got his helmet for the first time, he didn't want to take it off. He wanted to bring it home. He wanted to watch the NBA Finals in his helmet because he was so amped up. And they're like, no, you can't bring your helmet home. It's got to stay in the facility. So, that's just the type of character he is. He started off, at JUCO, working at a warehouse overnight just to kind of, provide for his family. Ended up going to Arizona, had 2 years there, amazing years there as a pass catcher and as a running back. And he's ready to go. And I think he's going to. I wouldn't say this week he's going to be huge, but down the line he will be.
All right, so that's a cute story, but I'm going running backs, Cowboys.
We haven't even talked about that.
Well, let me just quickly now. Anth jumped ahead of the game, and that's just how he is.
Way ahead.
He's super antsy. He comes quickly, and so the Cowboys running backs, Pollard, and you might have some things here to say that's not even relevant, and that's totally fine. So I'll just say what we have. 5.5 average. We love that. Out of 130 touches, he had 1,056 total rushing yards, and if you add up his all game touch, touch.
Who doesn't?
and 47 receptions, but only 287 yards. So he's kind of not going too far with the ball, but he can catch it for 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, that's the.
So I'll
stats
say
there.
this one thing about the Bucs running backs. I was actually very surprised to look at the stats and see how many receptions Leonard Fournette had last year.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had near that many. I don't watch very many Bucs games. Obviously, watched last year's NFL opener. Very surprised to the fact that he had as many receptions. Do you think this rookie's obviously going to dip into a bunch of his production? Do you think the goal is to get this 3rd-round kid to kind of eventually take it, or are they going to be splitting pretty much? Like, who's your 3rd down back?
I think it's a fresh legs. I think he'll probably be the 3rd down back, but you also have Keyshawn Vaughn, who they drafted in the 3rd round 2 years ago, who has grown tremendously in pass protection and receiving. And Giovanni Bernard's still in the roster as well.
Yeah,
so.
I saw that he slid to 4th, which I kind of found a little surprising. Rojo's not there, obviously.
No, good.
He
no.
started last year as your guys' lead back, did he not?
He
kind of fell from
not.
grace a little bit.
He was never in grace.
Right?
I mean,
So
he was a one-dimensional back. When he's in the game, you're running.
He's running. He's not catching. He's not blocking. He's getting the ball.
Protection sucks.
Yep.
His receiving sucks. I will say this: Leonard Fournette did miss 3 games last year. If he had played those games, he'd probably over 1,000 yards, probably somewhere around 12. Now, if we're comparing the Cowboys running backs and the Bucs running backs, yes, I will give the edge to the Cowboys, but not because of Ezekiel Elliott, because Tony Pollard. Ezekiel Elliott is relevant. He has not been able to run since he's 2 cheeseburgers away from being Eddie Lacy. He's just not the same back after he got paid. He's call it a la Hainsworth-esque. But I think Tony Pollard, if he's not the starting running back sometime by midseason, then there's something going wrong in Jerry world.
Well, this is the issue. This is the issue.
It's been good.
If Tony Pollard is our starting running back and we go to play action or he needs to pick up a blocking assignment, we will not have Dak Prescott for very long. Tony Pollard is
he's not a good pass protector.
He's not a good pass blocker. Zeke against, I don't know if you saw the film last year against you guys. Sure, he didn't do fuck all in the run game, but he was essentially a 6th offensive lineman back there. He didn't let anyone get to Dak, and he was probably one of the main reasons that Dak was getting the ball off to CeeDee Lamb, to Amari Cooper. Is that worth his pay grade? No. But we've swallowed the fact that Zeke's overpaid this year. He's still going to be one of
overpaid and overweight.
I see.
He's looking trim.
But if you need a 6 offensive lineman, that's not really a negative. Zeke, this is the reason I'm going to go running backs. Tony Pollard's so dynamic. Zeke is a great pass blocker and actually can catch the ball out of the backfield. And with his 10 touchdowns, he's still proven that on the goal line, he still has a nose for the end zone.
Ultra Cowboy says Fournette is the fat running back. Zeke got 1,000 yards on one knee.
Yeah, but
that was such an overblown storyline too. Like that storyline was just insane.
He wasn't fat as fuck or what?
He was he showed up to OTAs a little overweight, but not
little overweight or fat as fuck. Which one is it? He
little
wasn't
overweight.
Fat as fuck? A little overweight.
A little overweight. People were blowing that out of proportion, but
like his waistline fucking blown out of proportion or what?
the Cowboys have the edge, but I don't think it's by a huge margin.
I agree.
Let me just say that.
I can meet you in the middle there and say I think it's closer than, like, it's not one-sided by any means. Where the quarterback, you're going Tom Brady, and brings us to the next one. I think this
which
one
is completely one-sided.
Which is one-sided. But I think this is also one-sided. I think your wide receiver group right now is way more proven than our wide receiver group.
Give us Scotty Miller. Just give us Scotty Miller, all right? You're not even using him.
Rewind to last year where it was actually pretty even, right? We had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson. Well, out of those guys now, Cedric Wilson's gone to Miami. Michael Gallup is hurt, and Amari Cooper's on the Browns for a 5th fucking round pick. So we're in shambles a little bit, and not even really in shambles. We just don't know what to expect at all, where you have extinguished NFL veterans at your disposal.
Or distinguished?
Distinguished, plus Julio Jones. Like, you got Julio Jones coming in, which is a huge question mark, but could be a very, 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 very good question mark. Like, he's kind of, is it going to be like when Randy Moss showed up to the Patriots and everyone was kind of like, oh, Randy Moss passed his fucking prime. No one cares about it. Goes on his first game with Tom Brady and torches the Jets. It's scary. I am a little bit scared of your wide receiver room.
I don't blame you. You know, Chris Godwin's still working his way back from an ACL. I don't think he's going to be a huge factor in this game. Mike Evans, as one of your astute, guests or people in the chat pointed out, yeah, Mike Evans was held in check. Mike Evans was also doubled for most of that game. And with Mike Evans doubled and held in check for that game, you know what the rest of the team did? 124 yards for Antonio Brown in a touchdown. 9 receptions, 120 something yards for Chris Godwin in a touchdown. 8 receptions and 90 yards and 2 touchdowns for Rob Gronkowski. So fine, you want to take Mike Evans out of the game, that's fine. You're opening things up for Russell Gage, who has looked absolutely amazing so far in camp before he, had the hamstring injury, catching everything, just uncoverable. So I think Russell Gage is going to be able to step up right away. And Julio Jones has looked like the Julio Jones of old. We're not talking about Julio Jones the last 2 years with hamstring injuries. He is going to feast. He's going to be able to eat with single coverage that he's going to be getting, especially in the red zone. He becomes a huge mismatch, especially going up against Anthony Brown, who struggled a lot in that first game, rebounded for a few games, but still ended up with just a 69 coverage grade overall. The Dallas Cowboys secondary as a whole, and we'll talk about them later. Yeah, sure, they had some good plays, and Trevon Diggs, all-pro, unjustly so. They gave up a ton of yards after the catch. And half the time, if Trevon Diggs was not locking receiver down or making an interception, he was saying goodbye to them behind them like Jalen Ramsey was last night on that Stephon Diggs touchdown catch. So
Sorry about that. Whammy.
And that's just the top 4. We're not even getting into Scotty Miller, what Brashad Perriman and Jalen Darden, who's had a fantastic camp, can do. Sorry.
Head over heels over, but we do have unproven guys. You don't have tape on a lot of our guys. Could that be a benefit?
Noah something?
I'm reaching here. I'm reaching here. I'm screaming. This has been the biggest thing, one of the biggest news stories for the Cowboys all offseason. Go out and sign someone. Go out and sign someone. Go out and sign someone. We never did. We rolled with who we had on the team.
I do have a question here,
Yes, sir.
and it is fantasy related. Is Chris Godwin going to be a top 10 wideout?
I wouldn't know about top 10, top 15, I would say for sure.
Okay.
I think he's going to eat targets like he did last year. I mean, you remember he tore his ACL in week 15 and still led the team in receptions and yards. It was over 1,000 yards, and I'm sure he would have got his touchdowns up a little bit more. Anyone who took Chris Godwin this year in fantasy, banking on him coming back and being effective, don't worry about it.
You guys took him?
Did we take him?
In the CanFan
I don't know if we took it
fantasy
or not.
football.
Oh,
well,
I have him
You guys
one
are
leg.
over there holding hands. I assume. So you guys are just holding
No, we
hands
did,
to
we did.
hold hands.
I saw him put his hand up, and I always just go for a
So
hand
I
grab.
have a question about Gage. I saw that he was on the injury report. Is that just kind of
He's like
Nothing?
95%.
he's gonna play then? Okay, that's not
Yeah, he's going to play. And if you play daily fantasy, pick him up. He's going to have a game.
So we're
He's
gonna
going to have a game.
we're gonna mark this board. Unfortunately, blue marker is us. Red marker is JC. Unfortunately, both these marks are going to wide receivers.
No! God, please, no!
Ant went out to Staples and
No,
spent
are
$5 on both those markers.
No!
Doll headed?
God, please, no!
I almost fucked up.
So out of these wide receivers, then, just to finish that up, there's Julio Jones, Evans, Godwin, and Gage are all on the injury report at this moment.
No, just Gage and Godwin. Godwin is a true game time decision. Even if he plays, I would recommend benching him this week. Fantasy, don't pick him up in daily fantasy. I think he's going to have a very limited role snap count. He's still Chris Godwin. He can go out and do some damage, but he's not going to go out there and play a majority of the snaps. If he goes out there, it's just, all right, let's get him some game experience. Let's get him hit below the knee, and so he feels comfortable and, kind of ramp him up the way they've done all offseason.
And
Crack me if you got him. Okay, so we'll touch on Cowboys wide receivers here a little bit. I mean, you got to give respect to the one dude, the only dude on the roster who has caught a touchdown from Dak Prescott.
Hey-o.
Heyo, CeeDee Lamb, the legendary
He
88.
didn't catch a touchdown since like November last year.
Sorry, what was that?
He didn't catch a touchdown since like November of last year.
He still
Early
is
November.
the only wide receiver on the team. That doesn't take away the fact that
Didn't
he's
he
the only wide
Didn't he have
receiver
like
on
a shower accident where he hurt his foot though too? Is
Yes,
good
he
from
did.
that?
Oh,
He did.
really?
He was checking on Giselle, I think, Brady's wife, and he slipped. And anyways, we're
More
talking
to
about
him.
CeeDee Lamb, the only wide receiver on the team, 1,100 yards last year. I think 8 touchdowns. We're expecting him to do much, but will you guys just double team him? Probably you guys are going to roll coverage on him probably the whole game because there's no one else to be scared of.
I don't know if you'll roll coverage. You might see some safety looks on top, but Carlton Davis has been one of the better cornerbacks in the league that doesn't get recognition. He's shut down Devontae Adams multiple times. He shut down Tyreek Hill in the Super Bowl, shut down Julio Jones when he was back on the Falcons, like DeAndre Hopkins when he was on the Texans. Like he's done some damage against guys. The knock on him is he doesn't catch the ball. He doesn't make interceptions. He's got the most pass deflection since 2019, but he just can't hold on to the ball when it's thrown his way. So that's one of the biggest reasons he doesn't get it. But I'm sure on some plays, yeah, they'll roll some safety help over there. But for the most part, I expect him to be on an island and
Ooh,
do
I
a
would
pretty damn good
love
job.
that. I would love CD to get on island. So we're gonna roll in the tight ends here. I think this one is kind of weird. Looking at your guys' roster, I'm interested to see you try to roll this for you guys. Like, do you honestly think at tight end you have the advantage or disadvantage?
I think Dalton Schultz is the better player of the entire group, hands down. But I think the Bucs have better depth. I think they have more guys who can contribute. Obviously, Kyle Rudolph is a pro, has had 2 down seasons, but this is a guy who had 2 Pro Bowl seasons catching passes from Christian Ponder, who the hell else was up in there in Minnesota?
Up in Mini, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's still shown some juice. Cam Brate has been a great receiving threat. He's actually has the fifth most touchdowns in the NFL from a tight end since like 2016, 2017 or something like that. So, I mean, he still can find the end zone and he's got a nose for it. And then Cade Otton has really, the rookie 4th round pick has really, really been impressive to coaches and players alike. He's good in the blocking game. He's a good receiver. And then their 6th round pick, Ko Keefe, is just a mauler. Like as a blocker, he's a guy that's going to rip your face off. And they're using him at fullback too. So I think if you look at the depth of the 2 positions, the Bucs, it sways the Bucs, but the better overall player is Schultz.
So like this, so if you go to the game Sunday night, what tight end do you think has the most chance to impact the game?
Cam Brate.
You think Cam Brate does?
And I'll tell you why. And this is going to kind of lead to the next segment too. I think Cam Brate for one reason. Now you look at the Cowboys. We talked about the receivers. We talked about the running backs. There's really not many people to throw to besides CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz on the backside of the backfield that are proven guys. But when we move on to this offensive line talk, we're talking about a rookie left tackle. We're talking about Terrence Steele, who has been at right tackle. I don't know how he's looked in the preseason, but I know that he played multiple positions last year. Is still an undrafted free agent. Yep. Kudos to him for making the team and becoming a starter. But with the Bucs pass rush, I can see Dalton Schultz being held in more so than he would like.
I hope not. So don't say that. Don't say that.
Chipping the tight end, at least chipping the tight ends and or the rushers. And I think that might limit his production more so than not. Where I think if you got Mike Evans doubled, Julio starts to go off, so you double him. You got Russell Gage, and then you throw Cam Brate in there. And if the Bucs interior line, which we'll talk about, is struggling, those short, quick passes to Cam Brate, he'll cut you with 1,000 paper cuts. Brady's done it his whole career. He could end up having a better stat line than Dalton.
So you're basically saying by process of elimination of who's getting actually game plan to, crack him if you got him, son. You're basically saying on the process of elimination.
We're Canadian. We like to drink.
Cameron's gonna be the guy. Cameron's gonna be the guy that's kind of left to one-on-one versus a safety or 1v1 versus LVE. Hopefully not.
I think there's that possibility.
Okay.
Or the backs coming out of the backfield.
I like that. Or how you think that might play out. My thing with Dalton Schultz is I don't want Dalton Schultz to block. I don't want him to.
Choice.
Well, our 4th round pick, Jake Ferguson, he's actually been a proven blocker.
You dickhead.
Them boys crazy.
Is that the Fergalicious drop? So
he did the double drop, though.
He did the fuck you dickhead and then did the Fergalicious.
Well, and just as Stephen White saying, Fergie has birthing hips, so he's a keeper for us. So.
Birthing hips for a dude, is that a good thing?
Yeah, it has to be. If you want to
down.
settle down
Hey,
and start
this
blocking.
time and age, yes.
It doesn't matter. You're right. So I think tight ends is another place that is, like you said, you have the depth, but we have the guy that has been known to score touchdowns, has kind of proven, can take a game over, is Dak's safety blanket when Dak has other wide receivers. So it's one of those things that's still up in the air to be seen. You're going obviously with the Bucs on this one. What about you guys? Do you have anything
For the
We know-
game, for the
These-
season and the room in general, I go with the Cowboys.
The bandwagon boys over there. What do you guys think? Who are you going tight ends here?
I'm thinking.
I don't even think I've heard Adam talk this podcast. This is actually the quietest Adam's ever been. We need you on the show more.
Well, hey, when you have 4 people and you're interviewing a guest, and I'm trying to monitor everything,
You just like talking during the actual Cowboys game. I get it.
Yeah, it's the only time I can talk because you have your mouth shut. You're the
Newsflash, asshole!
I think that in terms of the tight ends, obviously I'm going to say Schultz. I think Schultz is going to be the impact player because ultimately, if we're looking at our wide receiving core and like we mentioned, they're a little bit unproven as a team. CD actually put up a touchdown the last time he played the Bucs, did he not?
Yeah, he had a great touchdown against the Bucs.
I only said that because I saw Ultra Cowboy post that in there and it reminded me of that. So I think there's going to be a little bit more emphasis on some of our receiving, our wideouts, and that you're going to see Schultz or Fergie get a couple drops. I'm calling it. I'm pretty sure my bold prediction that was Schultz was going to get two TDs this game.
How many yards though?
I
The
don't
only TD is going to be scored.
Hey, I'm okay with that. If we get 2 TDs and beat you 14-7, that's cool. Easy. I get it. You have Tom Brady. I understand. Okay, so we're going Cowboys. CanFan, we're going Cowboys on this. And JC Allen, you made some great points. I'm glad you actually had very good points. You guys have more depth. Our 2 backup tight ends are rookies, essentially.
I actually like the how you explain the tight ends of the Bucs. I actually,
of course you did.
No. But having a 4th tight end who's kind of in there with this more of a fullback blocking role. I'm assuming that's what Cole Keefe is playing. That's what I think. That's what I wish the Cowboys had because of our well, we're gonna get into it right now because of our O-line depth.
All right.
Yeah. And once Anthony
It takes him a little bit
Where the
to
fuck-
check.
where the
He has a
fuck-
hard check.
Hey,
He can't do a check
Next
mark.
time I come to your goddamn studio, you better have markers that work.
Hey,
What kind of markers are those?
The
Everyone knows the
worst,
Expo.
the worst fucking markers on the market. Unless you want to sponsor us, then they're great.
Yeah, we'll take a box of
So yeah,
markers.
we're
they're
hitting
probably Amazon Basics.
probably. I should have just went with the
black.
the thick Sharpie.
So
but-
are we
Well,
looking?
you can still go back to the thick Sharpie.
Anth, are we looking at O-line here as a whole, right?
yeah, O-line
Okay.
just across the board, centers, tackles, guards, all of it.
Okay. Bucks.
So
Well-
with saying the Bucs though, I know you had 3 Pro Bowlers from the line last year, 2 which aren't on the team now.
Correct.
Or sorry, 2 that aren't going to be playing next week.
No, one's not on the team.
One's not on the team, one's an IR, right? And then your tackle, how do you pronounce that guy's name? The tackle.
Christian Wirfs.
Wirfs. So is he left or right tackle?
That's your right tackle, all pro.
Okay.
Best right tackle in the
So
game.
he's
Christian
probably
Wirfs.
going to be seeing some Micah. Give us some backstory and why you think the guys that are stepping in for these other 2 Pro Bowlers, why they have elevated you enough to be able to hold their own against the Cowboys, who have a promising defensive line and obviously Micah Parsons.
Defense!
Yeah, so I think starting on the outside, working my way in, Tristan Wirfs, Pro Bowl right tackle. He's arguably the best right tackle in the game right now. On the left side, Donovan Smith quietly has improved his game every year. Was the 6th best ranking of all left tackles in the game per Pro Football Focus last season, and was one of the best tackles on an island without help. Moving from the right side inside, Shaq Mason, Alex Kappa left to the Bengals in free agency. Shaq Mason was had for a 5th-round pick from New England Patriots. He's continuously graded out as a top 5 right guard in the league, a clear upgrade over Alex Kappa, and he's going to be a huge piece of that offensive line. Now, the 2 question marks, which you mentioned there, Ali Marpet retiring, the Bucs Pro Bowl left guard, retired before the season started.
Only 28.
In the offseason. Yeah.
Very
guy.
young. Kind of Barry Sanders did a little bit. Kind of just left. Well, he had a lot probably left in the tank.
Especially as you know, offensive line running back, you're taking hits every play. So, don't fault him for it. He's lost a ton of weight. He's not coming back by any means ever again. So, and then, their center, Ryan Jensen, Pro Bowler, one of the top centers in the game, mean, nasty mofo. Second day of practice, injured his knee. Not sure what it is. He's on IR. There's a possibility where he could come back late in the season, kind of like Tryon Smith. It's one of those wait and see type of situations where they put him on IR after final cuts to be able to bring him back. But Robert Haynes, he's going to step into his place. Third round pick out of Notre Dame last year. We all know how Notre Dame linemen can play. You guys specifically know how Notre Dame linemen can play in the league. He spent the entire offseason working with AQ Shipley, who was a really strong center throughout his career, and has really coached him up while also getting coached by a really underrated Bucs offensive line coach tandem with Harold Goodwin and Joe Gilbert. And I think he's going to be fine in the position. He might have some hiccups, becoming a full-time starter, some struggles here and there, but I don't think it's anything to overcome. The bigger question mark is the Bucs' second-round pick that won the starting left guard is Luke Gedeke, out of Central Michigan, played right tackle his entire college career. Now he's moving from right tackle to left guard.
Yeah,
He's
that's a
moving
little bit of change.
Right. Moving from the right side of the line to the left side of the line. Moving from a small school like Central Michigan in the MAC conference to the NFL. So he had some struggles in the second preseason game where he played, going up against the Colts against Grover Stewart, which is an absolute monster. But the Bucs have seen enough, and one of the biggest things that I think will help overcome that interior is Tom Brady. Enough can't be said. I talked to Julian Edelman last week, and he pretty much told me, listen, Tom is the ultimate guy at protecting himself. He's like having a second coach on the field. When he comes up to the line, if Hainsey's making the wrong call on the mic, he's going to say, Linda that, and make the right call on the mic. If he senses DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons both on one side of the field coming in pressure, he's going to be able to shift protection to help, buy him some time. And he had the fastest release out of any quarterback in the NFL, second fastest release out of any quarterback in the NFL last year. And the only person that had a faster release was Ben Roethlisberger, and he was just dunking it down the, little checkdowns.
Just throwing it like a cheeseburger, just getting it out of his. Actually, he never threw a cheeseburger away. What am I saying?
Right.
Throwing it like a carrot. Get this fucking thing out of my hand.
And Brady, like I mentioned earlier, led the league in 20-plus yard passes. So it's not like he was giving out the ball quick and just dinking and dunking. He was throwing it down the field as well. So I think that will be a big question mark. But, looking at, and not to jump to, your defensive side of the ball, but I think that a guy like Osa Odighizuwa, I can never.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry.
We just call him
Osa. Osa Odighizuwa.
Yeah.
He could give him some problems because he's a speedier guy, and so far that's one thing Gedeke's had trouble with. You put Neville Gallimore in there, you put Tristan Hill in there. I think he'll be a little bit. It'll be a little easier for him to handle because he's got that strength. But once you put the speed on him, and if they start trying to do some stunts and blitzing Micah Parsons up the middle, that could be an area of concern. But
what about
overall,
a guy like Lawrence shifting into the middle?
Right, correct. Even Lawrence, yeah.
Right,
so.
I honestly think if you're thinking he's scared about speed, maybe that's a part that they go for. Maybe they shift D-Law into the middle there to see if they are, like you said, we're going to jump into defense, but we will be sending some fronts. You have there is you're talking these guys up, but there you have to admit there is some unknowns. There is some possible holes on that O-line compared to the O-line that we faced week one last season.
100%. 100%. I think that's one of the biggest. There's Ali Marpet right there. He looks like a shell of himself compared to now. Yeah, look at him. Completely different guy. Yeah. Joe Thomas. That's the that's the strength that they have underneath. They just had to put a little blubber. I look nothing like that underneath this stat, unfortunately.
Me either. I know you might think I might look different, but I don't. But it is funny. Like, you'll see offensive lineman that's been retired for 10 or 15 years, and you'll see him on NFL Network or whatever. They'll be interviewing this guy, and I'm like, oh, I wonder
Except
who
for
he
Jeff
is.
Saturday. He kept it
Except
on.
for Jeff Saturday went the opposite. But you'll Google this guy's name. I'm like, oh, what the fuck position did this guy play when he was playing in the 80s? You Google him, offensive line. Granted, 30 pounds in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, but still, like, now they're just big humans. They're not massive humans, right? So obviously you're going Bucs.
I think Luke Gedeke is the biggest question mark there.
Along
the line. I'm comfortable with the four guys.
So you're uncomfortable with the left guard? Guys,
I'm not uncomfortable.
Call Jerry. Get him on the phone.
I'm not uncomfortable. I just have some reservations. But you look at most lines around the league constructed, other than when the Cowboys had one of the most dominant lines we've ever seen, before.
A couple years ago, yeah.
A couple years ago. If you have three really good linemen and then two not so much, average, above average guys, slightly above average, then you're going to be fine. I think that's what the Bucs will be this year.
You definitely need three. A swing tackle is important, obviously, because you never know what's going to... These big dudes aren't going to make it a whole year ever, usually. The Cowboys, I think, in 2019 had a fucking million different combinations for offensive line. This year, we do, like you said, we have question marks. Our first round pick, Tyler Smith, is going to be starting at left tackle. He went through training camp at left guard, so he's now getting shifted over. We just signed Eagles legend and great Jason Peters, who won't be playing, obviously.
Only other 40-year-old in the league that's not a kicker.
And yeah, right. And this is the what about Brady? This is the issue
Only
though.
Other.
This is the issue though. You got left tackle Tyler Smith. You got left guard, who now is going to be Connor McGovern, who's he's okay. Tyler Biadasz, who's our center, who's again okay. Right guard, that you cannot argue this, all-pro, first ballot Hall of Famer, Zach Martin, arguably to me is the best Cowboy on the field. I need to see Micah Parsons have more than one season to him take the crown from Zach Martin.
Fun fact about Zach Martin, he's got more Pro Bowls than he does penalties in his career.
Got, 7 Pro Bowls, 5 holds or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, he's got 7 Pro Bowls and only 5 holding calls.
Hey, if you're going to put Tyler Smith on the field with someone to learn from, there's a guy who can teach you.
Well, even Tyron Smith, right? The whole plan was to have Tyron Smith at left tackle to then coach up this kid that was going to play left guard to eventually take over for his older Smith brother, Tyron Smith.
Or just take over at some point this season when Tyron Smith got injured.
Got hurt. Yeah, we didn't expect it to be
clockwork. We should have expected it.
We should have expected it, but we didn't. We thought it was going to be a little bit later. And then Terrence Steele, like you said, undrafted, played a shit ton of positions last year. He was serviceable last year, and I actually thought he played a lot better in his second year than he did as a rookie. With saying that, I do give you the edge. I give the Bucs a little bit of the edge. The Cowboys did not do anything in the offseason to improve the offensive line, minus drafting Tyler Smith. They didn't try to go out there and sign a guy on free agency. They didn't even really go. I think they took Matt Waletzko in the 5th round or something.
I love Waletzko. Let me just tell you that.
Me too.
I love Waletzko. I was so hyped on him during the draft. And I saw the Cowboys got him. I'm like, that's going to be a good spot.
Got hurt though during training camp.
Oh, he did?
I think it affected his growth a little bit, because I think they were kind of hoping
he was raw. He needs at least a year or two.
Year or two, but they're still hoping that maybe he could challenge for swing tackle. But going into O-line, I think we have to give the Bucs the check mark here. Guys?
You don't have to, but...
No! God, please, no!
I mean, there's just too many question marks. There's a lot of hopefulness. I'm actually higher on both Josh Ball and Matt Waletzko than I am Tyler Smith, and I don't hate Tyler Smith.
You're more... Whoa, sorry.
Yeah,
We're
I
arguing here.
I know.
We're arguing here right now. Josh fucking Ball.
Yeah.
Another Jerry classic.
Hey, this is the thing. I've just... Like, Tyler Smith played... I don't actually know if he played in any...
Josh Ball, Tyler Smith, dude. Tyler Smith, Josh Ball.
We say that. I'm just saying from
Josh
what
Ball,
I
Tyler
saw...
Smith needs some time, too.
Josh Ball couldn't block third stringers.
Tyler Smith still needs some time, too. He should not be playing right now, but necessity is forcing him to. Like, he would have benefited for at least a half a season or a full season to develop. But I think he could be a player.
Don't just back down on like that.
I'm not. I mean, look. There's a lot of.
There's a first round pick for a reason, and then there's Josh Ball. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Neither should
Okay.
ever be playing left tackle
And we didn't
against the Bucs on Sunday night.
And we didn't
let's
talk
just
about
agree.
'em.
Let's just agree with that. Neither of those motherfuckers should be playing left tackle against the
absolutely.
Bucs.
Agreed. And that's the thing is I'm just saying I'm fucking hopeful for Tyler Smith, but I didn't see anything that was like incredibly, oh wow, I just noticed Josh Ball in
His hairy
preseason.
arms. His big
It was
hairy
his
arms.
hairy
That's
arms.
it.
But look, we also drafted a 3rd round wide receiver who might not even fucking play, and we didn't touch on that, but that's another story.
That's just our drafting. Like you have a third round pick at wide receiver, and there's a chance that he's a healthy scratch. Looking at our wide receiver room right now, that's fucking terrifying. That's terrifying.
Someone needs to walk Jose off the cliff. Like, there's some limitations on Tyler Smith, and he does need some time. Just because if he went to Alabama does not mean he would have been a top 5 pick. Let me tell you that very much. I am a huge draft guy, and I'm deep in the draft. And while I like Tyler Smith, let's not go ahead and put him on a Pro Bowl, All-Pro right tackle who is, if he stays on this career trajectory, is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's slow our roll there with the Tyler Smith, the Tristan Wirfs talk there. Jose.
Yeah, Jose Ultra
Right?
Cowboys.
Oh, I
saying
didn't
that
even see it.
He says Tyler Smith would have been a top 5 pick if he transferred to Alabama this year. You guys are clueless. Tyler Smith has had the same grade as Wirfs.
Tyler Smith. No one's saying Tyler Smith's going to be dog
No.
shit.
No,
one's
no.
saying he's going to be dog shit. The
Just
front
need some
office,
time.
coaching, everybody. The plan was to have him at left guard to learn from Tyron Smith. His eventual position is left tackle. He is a guy that can work on it. He's a smart kid. He's powerful. He's lost some weight. He had some holding calls and shit that were issues in
Let
college.
me just bring up.
And
I
I
keep
do,
talking.
yeah, I do
You-
agree. I do agree with you.
But let's not compare him to Josh Ball, please, ever again.
It wasn't a
Let me
comparison.
look up
It wasn't a comparison. It was
my-
just a preseason 1, 2, and 3. Oh, the mega powers.
Rated the
Preseason
mega
1, 2, and 3. But all of them all, Matt Willetsko on just visually looks like a fucking physical freak on the field. He's got these long ass orangutan styled arms that just hang below his knees, and he's a big boy.
He's a big guy.
So at least I will not back down from Willetsko. I might back down from Ball. I was just kind of a little hyped on him when I saw him.
Let me see where I have what I
There's a word
have.
ball in there.
Okay, so this is my scouting report from Tyler Smith. I had him as the 6th best offensive
You do
tackle.
your own. Okay, we don't even fucking know anything about anything past maybe the first 12 picks, and you're doing your own scouting report, dude.
Yeah. So I said there's plenty of things to like about Smith as a prospect, starting with his violent playing style. He has one of the strongest grip strengths in the in the draft. Once he latches on to a defender, it's over. He's surprisingly nimble for a man his size and displays good lateral movement and burst off the line. But Smith tends to play with a high pad level and loses leverage battles because of it. He needs to refine his technique and pass protection sets and is vulnerable to speed rushes. His footwork needs work as well. He'll often grab defenders to stop them, leading to holding penalties. Smith will need time to develop and may be forced to move inside to guard. The second-team All-AAC tackle started 23 games over 3 seasons for the Golden Hurricanes. He is expected to be selected in the 2nd round, but will need time to grow into a starter.
Yeah,
That's my scouting report on Tyler Smith.
and you're pretty bang on. The guy is violent. He blocks violently. And there was a lot of surprise even in the Cowboys world. Like, a lot of guys will say that they like the pick now. I like the pick. I'd like the pick at the time. We don't know. That's the beauty of the NFL. We don't fucking know what the guy's going to do until Sunday night. And it might be a trial by fire. It's going to be sink or swim. And I'm excited.
Ball's gonna have to come in and save the fucking day.
Okay, just to get off of the O-line, Eric Serrato, boots on the ground. Eric,
What up, Eric?
You're all going to stop making fun of Josh Ball when he shows up Sunday with his arm hair all braided up and just stomps on every buck trying to cross that line.
If some dude showed up with braided arm hair, I would not fuck with him.
Goonies never say die.
So now we're going to move down to linebackers. Did we lose our boy?
I'm here.
He's
He's
here.
here. Okay, so we're going to move down to linebackers. And
Yeah,
I think that
and so when we go to Alex's screen, every time I go to it, for some reason, audio drops out. So that's why I've kind of been just.
Oh, we're not getting anything else up on the screen. Like, okay.
Yeah, so I'll
Okay,
I'll work
gotcha,
on it in the next
gotcha.
one when Alex brings someone else out besides shirtless guys.
Okay, so we're going to go to linebackers. I think this
Now,
one
is this outside or inside?
we're just going as a crew.
Outside and
Defense!
inside?
Yeah, we're just going as linebacking core. Like if we go every inside, outside, free safety, strong safety, slot corner, we're gonna be here till Sunday.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't sure if we were breaking up into like edge defenders and
no, I think we're just
linebacker.
going linebackers. Your linebacker, kind of like how the O line was just in a group type thing.
Okay,
O line was in a
Bucs.
group. Okay, Bucs. Why? Because you're thinking Levante and Devin White are head over shoulders. Who else do you got besides those two guys?
Jack Barrett, Pro Bowler last year, 19.5 sack leader 2 years ago. Joe Trine-Trinka, who was the first-round draft pick last year, who is going to be an absolute terror this year in a full-time role, not behind slow three-fingered JPP. But no, I think no.
Don't play with fireworks.
Much respect to JPP. He helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl down here. But no, Levante David and Devin White were named by coaches and players and executives as top 10 linebackers and as the top duo at inside linebacker in the entire NFL. Devin White was named to the NFL's top 100 list. Levante David was injured a few games, so that's probably what kept him off that list, but 3 tackles shy of 100. You look at just the inside linebackers compared to the Cowboys inside linebackers, I think they have the edge. And then you talk about outside, DeMarcus Lawrence is a heck of a player. If we're calling, is he plays a little hybrid, right?
No, he's edge. He's edge. Hybrid if he's going inside, but he's pretty much D line. He's sticking to the line. He's never going to be
okay.
Rarely are you going to see Lawrence drop out into the flats or cover a guy. Very, 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 very rare. He's predominantly rushing the passer or filling a gap, one or the other.
Yeah. So with that said, I just think that, hey, we're both looking at our lads for our depth chart. I just think the Bucs have it there. I think the depth is better with Anthony Nelson, who's really came on, had 5 sacks. Colin Nassib is a good rotational piece. Inside linebacker depth is shoddy at best, but I just looking at what the Bucs are trotting out there, and specifically for this game, the matchup they have versus the Cowboys tackles versus what the Cowboys have against the Bucs tackles. I'm going specifically for this game for sure. Definitely the Bucs linebacking core.
Alrighty.
I mean, look, I've been just watching Cowboys football for the last year after kind of being a
well, once we get here Sundays, we literally I used to sit there watch football fucking all day. Yeah. All day I'd watch every game. Now it's kind of we get here, we watch Cowboys, basically it, right? And then we get a guest on and we do about 25 minutes of studying.
Yeah. What I mean, I just mean to say I'm super biased for that reason because I just watch these guys and all my judgment is based off of them. And before that I was like red zone viewer, So you're really just getting edged the entire day.
If we're talking about past accolades, we have LVE, who has not been by no means what he was his first year as a rookie. He had an amazing year. Him and Jalen Smith, LVE's rookie year, it was like, holy shit, we got this linebacker duo for the next 10 years. LVE has not been anywhere near he was that year, but his 5-game stretch leading the season out and in his playoff game against San Fran, LVE was arguably one of our better, I'd say top 3 defensive players on the field. If he can somehow now just get over his injury fear, he had a neck injury, he had a back injury. If that dude, and I know it's but if that guy can just play how he can, even if he gets 75% of what that dude was his rookie year, great inside linebacker. Micah Parsons, we don't even have to talk about him. Everyone knows. Micah Parsons, if he can kind of even somewhat have the season that he had last year, if he has over 10 sacks, he's going to be...
Last year, I mean, if you remember watching Micah play against the Bucs, it's like his first NFL game.
He was gun-shy.
He's gun-shy. He
had some mistakes,
He looked terrible.
He was getting schemed.
Didn't look anything like... I was like, holy fuck, this is the dude that we were all so jacked up about. And then you fast forward to fucking 10 weeks later, you're like... Get me a Micah jersey in every color. Get me into the alternative. Get me in the blue. Get me in the white. So I do like the fact that Micah is now coming into his second year. We did sign Anthony Barr, who was a 4-time Pro Bowler, back-to-back seasons with the Vikings. We don't know what he's going to bring, but he's another guy that's going to be out. He's slated to start for us. Then we had our 4th-round pick from last year, Jabril Cox, who's a speed guy from LSU. He can go sideline to sideline, kind of like a poor man's Micah a little bit, like kind of what they drafted Micah to be, like a range to range type guy. And so with those 4 dudes, I think they're going to be able to do what we need. I don't think the Bucs are going to have a good running game against us. I honestly think with our front line and our rangy linebackers, I don't believe.
And Fatty Fournette.
And Fatty Fournette, cheeseburger burglar, fucking running down the field there. I honestly, if we had to say linebackers, what running backs, this is how I'm going to compare the linebackers. What running back duo is going to have a better game on Sunday night? I fully believe that the Cowboys are going to have more success. I do. I know you're looking crazy.
Thunder and lightning, baby.
I'm telling you this. I'm saying this right now. I honestly think our running backs are going to have a better game against the Bucs.
You mean the better than the, what was it? 61 yards they put up last year.
Yeah.
33 yards by Ezekiel Elliott, 14 by Tony Pollard, 13 by Dak Prescott. Gave up on the running game altogether because they couldn't.
Yeah, you're right.
You can say that about you got to remember those linebackers got to get past that defensive line first for the Bucs, and that's a whole different beast. I will say I do like Jabril Cox. I'm a big Jabril Cox fan. Was when he was drafted. I thought he got drafted.
Just say it without his first name.
I love Cox.
I do love Cox. hey, we're all Cox lovers here. Let's just settle down.
We love Cox from LSU.
And I think Barr,
sorry about that. Whammy.
Magic, he's going to be a big help, especially keeping those guys fresh in there. But hey, we're looking at the same game sheet too. I think if you look at it, and it's a little bit different too because the Bucs run a 3-4, mostly a 2-4-5 base, and you guys are more of that 4-3, 4-2 scheme. So I think that's a little bit different there as well. So, but if you're counting all the linebackers as a whole, I think the Bucs got it. I mean, come on here. Devin White.
Look, just before I toss Anthony here,
I don't think you can toss Allen a beer, but you could try.
Just before I toss Anthony. Hey, 4 A's, man.
Yeah, 4 A's. Yeah.
4 A's. I know it's a last name, but we're taking it.
We're taking it.
Let's go.
This is interesting.
Could be a first name.
If we look at the top receiver, the top basically offensive playmakers outside of the quarterbacks, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin won't be playing. And then on the Cowboy side, Amari Cooper is not going to be there, and he put up some. That was maybe
he had
the biggest
best
game of the season.
That was probably his best game of the year.
So offense is kind of interesting because you can't really compare our weapons. If we're looking back and referencing the game, you can compare a lot of the other elements of the offense and defense.
Right.
I do see what you're saying there. So we're gonna split the difference. And you know what? We're gonna have you on maybe next week.
Ask your constituents. What do your constituents think?
What do you guys think?
No, I definitely I'm
nice throw.
Kind of like Alex was saying. I don't know enough about the linebackers for the Bucs to really kind of go to bat for them. But
you know about that though.
Crack
if you got him.
But the fact is, I stand behind Micah. The fact that Micah Parsons is going to be a completely different player this game than what he was last game against the Bucs.
Right.
And LVE having Jabril Cox and even Anthony Barr, having all of them on the field is a completely different linebacking core than last year.
Not to mention their D-line in front of them.
Yeah.
They have a way better D-line in front of them. Their tackles are actually established. They do. Compared to last year, they do. They got Osa. Osa's 2 years in. D-Law's going to be playing. Like, DeMarcus Lawrence didn't even play against you guys last year. He's one of our best run stoppers in the league.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What Lawrence adds to the defense is a consistency and almost the equivalent of a lockdown corner, in that he's just going to lock down his position and his side the whole time. And
he's going to be in there and get it done.
He's going to be getting it done.
I just think, and I also think the fact that the thing that goes against this conversation to you is that you have Tom Brady. Because we don't have Tom Brady and we haven't won against Tom Brady, we want to destroy Tom Brady.
It's true.
Kill him.
And I think it's going to add that extra sauce.
How many teams have wanted to destroy Tom Brady and got destroyed themselves?
Well, this
can't even count it.
If Eli can do it, Dak can do it.
God damn.
Just jinxing yourself now.
That's what I've done my whole life, buddy.
What
Okay,
about
so
what
we're
about those?
So
Yeah.
we're split there. You have you.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
that's
split.
fine.
We're split here.
We split down the middle. I like our linebackers. He likes his. I mean, you're gonna have this sense of homerism, right? You got your points,
Well,
and I could
technically, but
crack me if you got him. You're gonna have it. You're gonna have it. I'm not gonna sit here and mark the Bucs.
I'm not a fan though. I'm a little unbiased though.
Hey,
So
True.
It's a little bit.
but it's your job.
It's a little bit like the tight end conversation. Who's the best player there? Micah Parsons, and I think that's a tipping point.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another argument. Back to the thing. Micah Parsons going into his second year. You don't know what to expect from him. And I'm not comparing him to this player I'm about to bring up, but you could put Lawrence Taylor on any.
oh my God!
No,
Don't
no,
even
no,
say-
no, no,
not
no,
even
no,
the
no,
same
shush,
sentence.
shush. For 2
Not
seconds.
in the same
Two seconds.
sentence.
Let me finish.
My God, this
you-
is the second time I heard this.
No.
this week.
I did not compare, and I never would.
You said his name in the same sentence as Micah Parsons. That's too much.
Okay,
Pick
so
a different player.
I'm gonna finish. Okay, so we'll say I'm trying to think of a great pass rushing linebacker in the last. Micah Parsons. We'll go with Micah Parsons. You put him on any linebacking core, he's going to be one of the best playmakers on that defense. Why can't one player tip a positional group?
Because I think Devin White is there too. And while Devin White had a bit of
he doesn't. What's the most sacks he's ever had in a season?
9.
So in our rookie last year,
10% less.
our rookie last year had 4 more than his best season.
Yeah,
Our rookie,
yeah,
sorry,
but-
Micah Parsons, as a rookie last year, first game against Tom Brady, didn't even have a really breakout game till about week 3 or 4.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to do all that because he's got Levante David, which is one of the most underrated.
What's Tom Brady's biggest weakness? Getting pressured. We didn't sack him once last year.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite. do not put Kryptonite and Tom Brady in the same
Gazelle.
sentence.
Gazelle.
But what I'm saying is we did not sack Tom Brady once last year when we played, right? We didn't get to him once. There's no fucking way we don't get to him this year. There's just no way.
I agree. I just think Devin White, what he's been able to do in the past and what he's done, how he's matured and how he's improved on the spots that he needed to improve on. I have Devin White as a top 3 vote getter on Defensive Player of the Year. If Micah Parsons in that conversation, we'll see. But I expect him to have 140 tackles, 7, 8, 9 sacks, a couple interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. This guy's he's the fastest linebacker in the game.
Wrong.
He's got sideline to sideline speed.
Second fastest.
No, he's the fastest linebacker
Wrong.
in the game.
Wrong.
He's got sideline to sideline speed.
No one will
and I
agree
think
with
he's
you
a beast.
there. No one will agree with you there. He's not the fastest linebacker. Sorry.
Who
I'll agree with
is it?
you.
Lawrence
Micah
Taylor?
Parsons. Micah Parsons would blow out the water. Micah
Well,
Parsons.
you don't remember
Micah Parsons.
Devin White ran a 40-yard dash race against 2 wide receivers last offseason and barely lost by like
Who?
a tenth of a second.
And
He wasn't wearing shoes and he was running on a road. The other guys were running on track. Like,
Nick Chubb.
come on.
Nick Chubb, 4.3 runner. Micah Parsons blew him out of the water in a race.
Okay.
We'll just say
Moving
that.
on to defensive line, the Bucs have this as well.
Okay, marking it for you. Hey, can we make a promise here?
What?
Whoever's wrong, we get to clip the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do that, but you guys
Perfect.
can clip me. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. If we get the chance, and even if we don't, I'll make a clip of me looking stupid. I don't care. It'll still be funny.
So
No, I think the Bucs have the defensive line for the Bucs. I think Vita Vea, Pro Bowler, one of the best nose tackles, one of the best defensive tackles
He's
in the
probably
game.
the fastest D tackle in the
He was a
game.
running back in high
I
school.
know.
Did you know that?
I've seen his
That's
highlights.
Oh
crazy.
my God.
I'll give you that.
And then
That guy's a fucking got some wheels.
the addition of Akeem Hicks, from what I've seen, I cannot understate this man at all. His size, his speed, his agility, his athleticism. Having him, and we saw it for briefly in those first 2 drives against the Colts. It takes 3 blockers for both of them. Straight up, 3 of your blockers are going to be on those guys, double teaming one and helping chip off and get to the other one, which is going to leave one-on-one situations, which helps improve the pass rush tremendously. Akeem Hicks has been great at the pass rush throughout his career, and I just think those 2 guys, not even getting into Will Golston, who had a career high 5 sacks last year, who's the other defensive end. I like, don't get me wrong, I like what some of the pieces that the Cowboys have in Osa. I'm not going to try to say his last name. And I think Quinton Bohanna is just a monster of a man.
Ohana's a beast.
Obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence is, one of the better players at his position, as you guys said. He's a infomercial at 2:00 in the morning. Set it and forget it. He's fine.
I like that.
He's gonna do it. Dorrance Armstrong, questions about Dante Fowler, has never really put it all together, and he's more of a rotational guy for you guys. So give me the Bucs defensive line for those reasons.
With Akeem Hicks, you brought up, what did he have? 3.5 sacks? Is he more of like? Did he have an off year, or was it just because he was with the Bears?
He wasn't healthy. He wasn't healthy, and he was with the Bears.
Nagging injuries, because that doesn't jump off there. That 3.5 sacks. I was kind of looking. Like I said, I did not watch a single fucking Bears game last year. I do know Akeem Hicks, but is he actually showing some promise? He seems like he's gonna get out there and he's actually gonna. And
him and Vita Vea are gonna be a dominant force, and this is gonna be very, very difficult for teams to cover both of them at the same time. Like I said, one of the biggest advantages of having them both together is, again, you mentioned Vita Vea's speed, and Akeem Hicks has been one of the better pass rushers for that size. I mean, these guys are both. Akeem Hicks is 6'5", 330 pounds. Like, he's a giant man.
Yep.
I went to shake his hand in open locker room the other day, and I was embarrassed because his hand just engulfed my entire hand in the handshake. And
yeah,
I'm
but
just,
did you try to squeeze it harder? Did you try?
I tried to a little bit, but I couldn't even because my fingers were just barely touching that.
You should have double-handed them. You should have went the two-hand handshake. Should have just fucking went.
I think with Vita and Akeem is one of them is going to get doubled, which is going to leave one of them open. And even if it's a double team and then a pass off to the other guy to absorb the double team, both of those guys have the speed, athleticism, quickness, and the strength and power to be able to get in the quarterback's lap. And I think that's going to be a huge problem, not just for the Cowboys this weekend, but for every team. And when you look at the fact that they're going to take up those three blockers, the Bucs system, the way they run with their, usually they usually play a lot of nickel, so 2-4-5. That's going to leave mismatches all across the field for Shaq Barrett, for Joe Tryon, for Devin White, for Levante David, because they're going to take up so many guys. And I think when I first saw those two guys together, I was like, wow, this is going to be a lot of fun to cover.
Boner alert, you think?
Boner alert.
You went from 6 to midnight?
The wide receiving core, it looks great with Julio and everything, and it's still kind of surreal watching Julio out there. Julio Jones is a team that Brady just gets everybody. And man, I will tell you, I'm very excited to see what this defensive line can do.
I think I have to say that line, if I was doing a Madden team, I'd be really happy with it. Vita Vea is someone who I think is a freak. A freak, super talent. I'm excited to continue watching him. Out of all, you don't notice a lot of players outside.
Hope he has a terrible game.
Yeah. and Akeem Hicks, I actually wanted
terrible game. Hope he sucks.
I was hoping he might sign with the Cowboys, Akeem Hicks, but he went to the opposite team, and then look who we're playing.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? I like our young talent, and I like our young depth. I think this is finally Dan Quinn's year to have this defense be possibly at least a top 10, maybe compete for a top 5 defense, depending if our offense can hold their own up. And I'm going to be a homer here. This is my homer pick. JC had a very good arguments for everything, but I'm going to be the homer guy this time. I like Tank Lawrence. I like Bahana as a fucking monster. Neville Gallimore, Canadian hero. He's gonna have a good year. He was hurt going into the season last year. I think he's gonna make some people's heads turn. Osa. Then you have, like you said, Fowler. He kind of never really figured it out, but he's back with Dan Quinn. Maybe he kind of figures it out.
He's in a good position on the team where he's not going to have any pressure for him to have to be consistent, and hopefully he can just come in there and have the plays that are fucking super.
If you're strictly looking at it like guys on the team currently, if we're just sticking to D-line, if you're looking at guys, proven guys with stats, obviously the Bucs are taking that edge. But I do like the fact that we're growing through the draft and we do have these few guys on our team that are prime. Neville Gallimore and Osa, those guys could both.
I didn't even mention Logan Hall, who was their second-round pick, first overall in the second round. This guy is going to bring a crazy athleticism and speed, and as a sub rusher, he could easily get 4 or 5 sacks.
Do you think he could dunk?
Absolutely. The guy's huge.
Do you think he could break the glass if he dunked?
Yes, I do.
Shaq Attack style?
Shaq Attack?
Seeing him in person, yes, this guy is a monster of a man. He's huge. He's absolutely huge. I think he's 6'6", maybe 6'5". Like he's a big boy.
That's a motherfucking. That's not a boy. That's a giant.
Yeah, he's a big. The first time I seen him, I was like, "Holy crap!" This guy
6'6",
is
283.
absolutely huge. Yeah,
That's a studly weight for 6'6".
Okay, CBs. Moving on. Let's hear why. Why do you think the CBs are better than the Cowboys?
Like I said, I talked about Carlton Davis and him being one of the better cover corners that doesn't get recognition in the league, leading all defensive backs since 2019 in pass deflections. I think what you've seen from Jamel Dean, he's really come on as a number 2 corner. He's got 4.3 speed. He was the best corner in press man coverage of all in the entire NFL last year, according to Pro Football Focus. One of his biggest things that he was lacking was he was falling for double moves. Corrected that last year. He is also in the top 5 right now, as well as in pass deflections over the last 2 years. So he gets his hands on plenty of the balls. The problem is he doesn't bring them in, and that's been a big onus on the secondary. We're talking about safeties too, right?
Yeah, we'll group them together. I wasn't going to, but let's group them in together.
Antoine Winfield Jr., Pro Bowl safety. He's on an All-Pro trajectory. He's actually playing a lot of nickel this season. Because
he's a smaller safety, isn't he? He's not big.
He is.
He kind of fits that mold to possibly play in the nickel more than like.
He's gonna be doing a little bit of both there. In base package, he'll be at free safety, but he'll be at nickel and mostly in 2-4-5 sets. And he's a playmaker. I mean, he gets his hands on the ball. Interception in the Super Bowl. A solid tackler. He's got good size and speed. Obviously not like size height wise, but bulk wise, I think he's got a really good chance in an All-Pro this season, even though he's going to be playing nickel. It never hurt Tyrann Mathieu when he was playing safety and nickel. Mike Edwards is a ball hawk, absolute ball hawk. Two pick sixes last year. They brought in Logan Ryan, who's a little bit old in the tooth, but he can still bring something to that secondary. He's played all over, inside, outside, free safety, strong safety. And then Keanu Neal, who you guys had last season and played him out of position.
Yeah, as a linebacker.
Is back to strong safety, and he's looked good. He's got a renewed sense of vigor being back in that safety position, and he's going to come down, and we've already seen it so far in practice, laying the lumber on guys. So that group together, as well as some of the depth, Sean Murphy-Bunting, who was starting outside and starting nickel, he's now a depth piece. Zion McCollum, who they drafted right there out of Sam Houston in Texas. He's not playing this game with a hamstring injury, but man, as the season goes on, I think he's got a shot to potentially force his way into the lineup. That's how good he's been. He's 6'2" with unreal athleticism. Had the best testing scores out of any cornerback in combine history. So I like the depth they have there. I like the starters they have there. And as far as talking why I think they're better than the Cowboys secondary, first of all, Malik Hooker's never lived up to expectations. Anthony Brown is a subpar cornerback at best. Finished last year with a 69 overall cover grade. And Trayvon Diggs, for his great All-Pro season that he had, I already talked about it. Yeah, he led the league in interceptions, but was also burned a lot.
Can we call him what he is? Can we call him what he is? The most polarizing football player ever. Everyone it's either like probably only the love he gets is from Cowboys fans, but it's like we love him. Everybody else, for whatever reason, the guy's the most humble fucking dude on the planet, and everyone just hates his fucking guts.
No, I don't hate him. I think he's a good football player.
I'm not saying you, but let's
he's improved.
Let's call him by the most polarizing player in football right now.
He's definitely improved for sure, and you've seen that improvement, especially with his hands. But the Cowboys defense, their secondary as a whole, gave up the 4th most yards after the catch in the NFL last season, 2,335 yards after the catch. And part of that was Trayvon Diggs. In one area he still struggles at is tackling.
I have a question for you, just a question before we go any further.
He's been burnt a lot.
If you think there's a cornerback, like if there's a corner on a guy, and this is a question for everyone here actually. If you have a corner on a receiver and you're playing cover 2 and the receiver gets a catch after he burns you, but you should, like kind of happened to Ramsey last night. And this is an actual question. Like I don't have a narrative where I'm going here.
No, go ahead.
If a receiver beats a corner with cover 2, should have over the top help, and the guy catches it and the safety didn't do his job, but those yards still technically go against the corner. Do you think that's fair? Like I feel like when they add the yards, against a guy, it should be either in
Well-
man coverage, not when there's. I don't know. It's a weird fucking. It's
I think-
this yards against is a weird stat that we only started to hear last year when Trevon Diggs had 11 picks but had fucking 10,000 yards against him. It's the only
know.
time I've ever heard it.
If Diggs was on any other team besides the Cowboys, that stat would have never been
If
brought
Diggs,
up.
if
Oh
Diggs,
my
if
goodness.
Diggs played like Ramsey did last night, oh my God, Twitter would have fucking ejaculated.
The internet would have been
Twitter would have been just going, oh my God, he gave up 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's so bad. But it's like, oh no, Ramsey's the best. He should have had safety help over the
Do
top.
you work your head that far up? That was high head work.
Well, I think that stat's kind of polarizing as the same thing as
Yeah,
the
totally.
interception stat, right? Like you look at what happened yesterday with Isaiah McKenzie when he caught the ball and then threw it in the dude's
Yeah.
in the dude's hands. Like that shouldn't be an interception towards a quarterback. And I get your point with that as well. But with Trevon Diggs, he still struggled in coverage last year. I mean,
Oh yeah, no
PFF
one's
is
saying
not
he didn't.
the
You're right.
not the end all be all by any means, but he only had a 66 grade in coverage. Well, we'll round it up. 67 grade in coverage.
Is that
Like I
from
said,
PFF?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tackling again, not as great. 55 cover.
But that was
And
PFF, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Run defense, non-existent. 32 grade there. The biggest thing about Trevon Diggs the last season as well is while he had those 11 interceptions, he also had
touchdowns.
11 penalties.
Yeah, that's not good. You're right.
You know, so like he's got to get better at that when he's, if he, and I get it,
Who votes for All-Pro? Who votes
some of those
people
were
into
smart
All-Pro?
penalties. What?
Who votes people into the All-Pro? Like it's the
Some old people.
some old people.
Yes, I'm the vice president of the Pro Football Writers of America Tampa chapter down here. It's not us, so
You would not have voted Trevon Diggs to the All-Pro, I'm assuming.
it's not us. No, maybe second team, but not first team. I think there's something to be said about a playmaker who can get his hands on balls. And like I said, all
11.
those 11 penalties,
11 interceptions though.
11 interceptions
Hadn't been
were
done in
right.
40
And
years.
those 11 penalties that he had as well, not all of them were bad penalties. Sometimes it's a good penalty to make a penalty so a guy doesn't burn you and get a touchdown to prevent
Right.
the score.
Right.
But that's an area he needs to improve on. He needs to improve on his run support.
But
He needs
back to my original question, what do you guys think? Do you think if a corner is burned, and this has nothing to do with like Trevon Diggs, I'm like even in Ramsey's situation, that play last night, Ramsey should have had over the top help. He didn't. He looks like he got burned and the guy gets a touchdown.
Look,
should those yards
he
against
still got
me-
burned off the line.
He still got
I mean,
he was like that was like there was like eight yards of separation, right? But there's times where it's contested where safety at the end of the day the safety's still supposed to make a play.
I just think so. I think
Sorry to derail this. I'm
No,
just
no.
interested in what everyone I'm interested in
yeah.
what everyone else thinks.
Let's go around the room,
yeah,
Adam.
my thought is that the NFL, they track every other fucking stat known to man. How many? Dak Prescott.
Crack him if you got him.
Dak Prescott ties his laces this way versus that way. Like, so they track every other fucking stat. They should be more dialed in on that one, in my opinion.
It's just a weird one.
That's
Like if it's man to man, which I guess you
there's a
don't
few of them
that are
need
kind
to
of
be corrected.
skewed a little bit, right? Like but
Right.
I think at the end of the day, you just weigh what you want in your defense. And when we're looking at Diggs in the Dallas defense, I mean, now the scheme was there. Diggs showed up with Dan Quinn and said, "Hey, I can do this in this defense." So no doubt they've put together a little bit, I would hope. If I'm thinking about it, I'm sure Dan Quinn's doing it because he's our fucking boy. But he's putting together something that's
Lieutenant Dan.
going to complement the way that Diggs plays and also going to compensate for the risks that he takes. Trevon Diggs is a risk-taking cornerback. He's going to have that 8 yards of separation because he believes he's going to be able to close that when the ball's thrown. Right. So there are these mind games that are played out there, and sometimes it doesn't always play off. I hope that he's learned a little bit more from last year when to make those 50-50 decisions of, okay, I'm going to make the chance on this one or I'm going to play it safer. But if we also, one last thing, if we do look at that PFF ranking, I couldn't find it, but there was a rebuttal because of how
PFF then came out with best man-to-man corners, and they had him ranked top.
right.
So it's kind of confusing what the fuck they're doing over there.
Exactly. So how much, like, just on that point as a hypothetical, it's like, okay, well, what if you just have him out there and we're playing 75% man on man? Okay, now his stat goes up, right? So the point's moot because I couldn't find the article, but
Yeah, I'm just looking on the PFF like premium, so like that's probably why you couldn't find those numbers. But I mean, there's games.
Soft burn.
I would never.
No.
For
There's
that.
games
I would
like
never pay
that-
for
that-
PFF anything. Trust me. Anything.
We pay for it for the site. But
No,
that
no,
Philly
we
game,
appreciate
that
it.
Philly game, he was amazing in coverage. 92 grade in coverage against the New Orleans Saints. 82 grade in coverage against the Giants.
What did he get
81.
against you guys last week, week 1?
Last year? He got a 74 grade in coverage,
he-
so he was still good.
Because
His tackling though,
his tackling.
his tackling was a 27.
Yeah.
27. That's really bad.
I think
But
there
no,
is something.
I also like.
So on the what you're reading there, I know we bash them all the time, but there's at least a consistency in what they're reporting on with PFF, and I
Right.
think that's should be taken into consideration. Like at least right or wrong, at least it's a consistent playing field.
And it's one of the top go-tos as well.
It is.
Writers,
It is.
Everyone
It's
uses.
pretty much everyone cites PFF as one of their citing points.
Whether you agree or you don't
What?
agree.
100%.
They have Ryan Jensen listed as like not even a top 10 center, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So it's not the Bible. You can't like swear by it, but they do have really good, situations. I don't know what their grading system and point for this, minus a point for that, how that works. But
Well, I'm a firm believer. I use PFF when it makes sense for me to use.
Yeah.
Right.
But okay, with last thing I'll say about Trevon Diggs, he gave up 1,000 yards last year, right? That equates to 58 yards a game. That's not that much. He had 11 interceptions. That has not been done in 40 years. He had 2 touchdowns. One of the most exciting plays for us as fans, we're fans. We don't work in the media like JC. This is your job, right? As fans, all I can talk about as a fan, I watched every fucking minute of Cowboys football. Yeah, Trevon Diggs did give up plays, but watching that guy get an interception or take one to the house or just come up with a big pick in a big situation, to me, that is one of the most exciting plays for me.
I mean, look,
I'm an emotion-based guy, right? Sure, I get he's
You're
polarizing.
emotional here, man.
I'm like the dude in Hard Knocks that started crying when he was talking in the huddle. As far as Trevon Diggs goes, love to watch him. No, he's not a Ramsey, but if he can get 58 yards against him and have a chance at an interception, I'll take that any day of the week.
Booyah.
Booyah. And with saying that, so you're going Bucs for CBs. I'm going to give myself a question mark. I'm not sold on either team yet.
I like Jordan Lewis too. I think he's shown good progression.
He's a little banged up right now. So
Okay,
I don't know.
so you got K'Ron Johnson and Jordan Lewis banged up. That's not good.
Not
so,
good.
Yeah.
K'Ron just came
change
out.
that question mark right over to the Bucs. Then.
Can't-
Come on,
Can't do it. Can't do
take
it.
the fan hat off.
and-
Take the fan hat off.
I think
Go
because
with
of,
logic and reason.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Like I said, emotional fan. Fuck PFF. Fuck logic.
At the start,
Because of those-
at the start, Ant's like, "Oh, we're not like the typical."
No.
Dallas."
But I didn't. I'm not arguing that his points are bad. I think his points are great. And I think he's
he
making
just can't.
very great points.
Pull the
I
trigger.
just am biased towards my team. I'm not saying no.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not saying after his point. Oh, that's stupid. No, that's not true.
Bro.
He's had great points, and he's very well versed. Unlike us, we go on our emotion.
But you know what? I think the injuries would sway it towards Bucks.
Well, then you
What's
can
the
mark
reason?
your board.
Me and
This is
Adam
my
haven't-
board.
Me and Adam have been mating, but it looks more like a tic-tac-toe than an actual fucking board.
Okay, last thing we're going to talk about here on this big whiteboard that I spent all of 62
Heyo.
seconds making. Special teams.
It's Cowboys.
It's got to be Cowboys, right?
Hey!
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank God.
Cowboys.
If you went Bucks there, I was going to call
But
but our kicking game's terrible still.
kicking game. Yeah, I give the nod to suck up. But as far as punt returner, kick returner, coverage teams, the Bucks have
Punter.
a lot to work.
Punter. Our punter.
I-
Anger's
you
a
know,
fucking Pro Bowl. Anger
Yeah.
can boot that bitch.
Yeah, I think Jake Camarda is going to surprise a lot of people. There was a reason why they took him over the punt devil in the first place, and I think that he's gonna really surprise some
Did
people.
you call him the
He's-
punt devil? I caught that. like that.
I think
That's
he's really going to
funny.
surprise. One of our guys who's like really good with numbers, and he's our cap guy, but he's just an amazing. He came up with a total different like stat for punters. It's called the Pina, and it's pretty much You take out what the punt would be versus what the yards would be. It's some super
with touchbacks.
convoluted formula, right?
Right?
Correct.
Like that's always skewed a little bit, right? Like
Right,
it's
and
kind of
he
skewed.
had the best one in the draft, and it would have been top 10 in the NFL last year.
I'm just glad PFF didn't pick it up.
So, but no, I think if you look at the kicking game, kicker for sure is definitely edge to the Bucs. I think you guys have the slight edge at punter just because we haven't seen Jake Camarda do it in the game, but I do have high hopes for him. Coverage units, return units, yeah, that's all you guys. Take it.
Hey, special teams. There's three aspects of the game.
Right.
I'll take the one. I'll take the one. Maybe I'll take the one. So we went through
field goal block. I think the edge goes to the Bucs. Too.
Goes to the Bucs, just blitzing in there. So we went through.
They've had some good luck.
We went through our board. Now that I went from blue and red to black, I don't really know, but I'm thinking you went. I actually think the Bucs have the edge.
Yeah,
with what we just did here. I'm going to count check marks.
Coming to reason.
10.
Do some quick math there.
10-6.
I don't math well, so
10-6. Neither do I.
Okay, so
Neither
that was the check marks. That was breaking it down. Now, what do you just think overall as a whole? Let's just do a team, a fucking Cowboys versus Bucs comparison. Who's
like
going to win?
keys to the game type deal.
Yeah, like
and
okay,
then
who do you think's going to win?
And then I also want to know what you think the score is going to be there, JC.
Oh yeah, we got to get a score prediction, definitely.
I think for the Cowboys, there's a few things they need to focus on. First of all, penalties. They were the most penalized team out of any team in the league last year. They've got to clean that up, holding penalties especially, which is going to be tough, especially week one, because you're starting a rookie left tackle going up against a guy who put up 19 and a half sacks in his career. And Terrence Steele is still a guy who's, coming into his own. So, penalties is going to be huge. Can't make any of those mental mistakes. For the Bucs, what they need to do is they need to steal the edges off. They need to get after Dak Prescott and put them in third and longs. That's going to be the key, because the Cowboys were awful in third and longs last year, in 95 third and long attempts, which is 6 yards, third and 6 or more. They, out of 95 attempts, only completed 17 of them. So
that's terrible.
Don't get us started on Kellen Moore. All right.
Isn't that a daisy?
That's a huge thing that the Bucs need to do. They need to get after the quarterback. On offense for the Bucs, you need to show a little bit more balance in the beginning. Try to get Leonard Fournette going. He's looked really good so far in the preseason and in training camp. He's
eating something? Was he at the buffet and
he's
looked
been
pretty
eating
good?
some avocado ice cream with Tom Brady, because the weight transformation is real. And he's been running with like a new sense of vigor after getting that contract extension.
Pretending he's getting the last order at In-N-Out. He's like, got to get there.
His first two runs in both of the preseason games went for more than 10 yards. So if you can get him going, that's going to help tremendously. Plus, this team is a better run blocking team right now with the rookie and with Robert Hainsey in there and Shaq Mason particularly. If you can get the run game going to balance it out a little bit. Now, you don't need the run game to set up play action. We know that's a myth, but it certainly does help. And protecting Brady on that offensive side, you got to do it. I think Mike Evans is going to draw the coverage of Trevon Diggs, potentially with some safety top over the help with Malik Hooker, which is going to open up things for everybody else. So, you might not get the long bombs, but if you have to take 1,000 paper cuts, dink dunk your way down the field and take those shots against Julio Jones or Russell Gage when they get open, you got to do that. As for the defensive side for the Cowboys, you got to pressure the middle. You got to find a way to use exotic looks to slide DeMarcus Lawrence in there on those guard and center, and then do some stunts and some twists and be able to use Micah Parsons in creative ways to try to get him pressure up the middle to get Tom. Now, one of the biggest things that everyone says is the way to get to Tom is pressure up the middle. That's the way to get up to any quarterback, especially a pocket quarterback, is to take away their pocket. Exactly. Take away the pocket from them. So that's going to be huge for them. Secondary for the Bucs, they need to play. You're going up against a team that has limited weapons right now. You need to make sure you're tackling well, which was the point of emphasis. That didn't really look that great. Once the second units came on in the preseason, you got to make sure you're tackling. And for Carlton Davis, he's been talking about this offseason that he wants to play more offensively on defense. You need to show that. You need to be able to get out there, be aggressive, and get your hands on some balls. Turnover battle. The Bucs had 4 turnovers last season, and that's pretty much the reason why. And 11 penalties. You got to play mistake-free football if you're going to beat this Cowboys team. But because even though they are down guys on the offensive line and the wide receiver room and in the secondary, they're still a tough opponent. They're going to give you hell, and you're going to Jerry's World with 90,000 screaming,
Woo! Jerry's
Cowboys
World, baby!
are going to make that place loud and difficult to play.
You're wearing an AT&T Stadium hat right now.
So I think those are some of our big keys. Special teams has got to step up as well, and just playing smart, fundamentally sound football. If the Bucs are going to come out of here, I don't have it as a huge win. I don't have them blowing it out. I do have the Bucs winning 27-20. I think 3 touchdowns from the Bucs, 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns from the Cowboys, 2 field goals. Could be interesting late. Maybe the Cowboys are driving to tie it up 27-all. And maybe the Buccaneers secondary steps up or their pass rush steps up with a sack or an interception, forced fumble to kind of end the game. But I think the Bucs have the lead late going into the game, and maybe the Cowboys try to do something to tie it up, but it just doesn't. Their magic doesn't work this year, and Bucs hold off to win 27-20.
And do you have a bold prediction along with it? You might have just mentioned it with the stats there, but
With the
any
Bucs
one
winning,
bold?
that's his bold
We do
prediction?
bold predictions.
Something that's out of the ordinary. Like a guy's going to get 2 punt returns, or someone's going to have 4 touchdowns.
Russell Gage is going to eat this week. He's going to have.
Give us a stat line.
I think he'll have somewhere around 8 receptions, 100 and some odd yards, and a touchdown. If you're a daily fantasy player, I would pick him up. And I would not be surprised to see Cam Brate have a good game as well. Somewhere around maybe 6 or 7 catches for around 70 yards and maybe a score as well.
Nice. Okay, you're gonna have to sit through us here, especially our bold predictions, because we get fucking crazy with these bold predictions. So I'm gonna ask these 2 guys first. Give us one key to the game each. Alex, AT&T Stadium boy with those sexy glasses. What do you got there, bud?
Key to the game?
Yeah, give us a key to the game.
Oh fuck! I mean,
You're dangling them, and you need to open that door. Let's see what you got for your keys.
Key to the game would just be give fucking Dak time. We are working with some really new, fresh people, wide receivers, and he just needs time to find an open receiver, and maybe it's going to be much smoother than I think, but we are not coming into this game like we did last year, so move the ball quickly, and that might mean let's get TP20 out
in the slot.
Yeah, out in the slot and just slotting around.
That's your bold prediction?
No, that's
that's
key
my
to the game.
Key to the game. Adam, fucking get your head in the game, will you?
No, but I was asking if that was your bold prediction. My key to the game, Micah's gonna be all over Tom Brady this time, and I think he's gonna shake him.
So your
him up.
key to the game is we need to get pressure on Tom Brady. That's your key to the game.
Brady's going to step on him like he's a roach, remember?
Ooh, that is mean. That is mean. You are not nice. My key to the games, there's 3 that I have, and I'm just going to crank them off real quick. Tom Brady, like I said earlier in the cast, he seems a little less or more human when he gets pressure on him. We need to get pressure on Brady. We cannot win this game with 0 sacks. I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
Cannot beat Tom Brady with 0 sacks. 2,
Agreed.
one of the worst parts of our game, and was one of the reasons we lost last year, was our fucking special teams. Watching Greg Zerloin kick that fucking football, I wanted to headbutt a wall. I literally did. I wanted to headbutt this wall, be unconscious with blood pouring down my face. We cannot miss kicks. We cannot miss extra points, and we cannot miss field goals from 30 yards or out.
That was tough.
That was tough. That was so tough. And 3.
Whoa, you got 3 keys to this?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I'm going 3. Listen, come on. I've been stewing.
He only
here.
asked you guys for 1.
Yeah,
I know.
That's all they
We're
get.
only given
3.
1 key, and he has 3.
3.
I hold
Let's do the
all
discrepancy.
I hold all the keys.
Do you even
He's
get
over there
1
on the
key?
couch by himself, getting beers tossed to him.
Right?
You guys are over there
Yeah,
pulling up
right.
naked, half shirtless men over there,
Yeah, they're
running the show.
They
He
gotta
just
run.
gets all the cred.
Show them the spaceship. You guys get to run the spaceship. I wish I could get over there. I've switched out with them before, and they kick me out of there because I don't do it well enough. Number 3,
Shocking.
we need to have more than 56 yards rushing or whatever it was last year. Cannot have that. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, they need to have more rushing yards.
I think Zeke's going to go do 150 yards.
150. That's your bold prediction. You're going right
That's
into bold
crazy.
predictions.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's your
we
bold
said
prediction?
We go
like that.
What is
That's not even bold. That's
150.
crazy talk.
That's how we
Anyone
do.
in Canada right now who's near him, check him into the closest mental asylum because he's
We
losing his
can't,
mind.
we can't move him with those giant balls he has between his legs. Zeke, 150 yards. AJ, what do you got for your bold prediction over there?
My
AT&T boy?
goodness.
bold prediction. I'm not going to specify the person, but I do think we're going to have a punt, 2 special teams touchdowns.
So you think it could be a punt block even? Not
Yes,
necessarily.
the special teams isn't that bad. I mean, it's bad, but come on.
I just think Turpin's going to return one, either punt or kick, and then I'm just banking on something hopeful on the second one.
Just because I'm getting a feel from this cast, I'm going bold here. I'm going bold. I'm going crazy. Trevon Diggs, 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown.
Oh, my goodness.
It's doable.
So combined, you guys have 150.
They're called
rushing
bold.
yards
We're not
when the Bucs only let up 72 yards per opponent and held this team in check to just over 50. 2 special teams touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Can I time you out there for a sec, JC?
Let's hope
we
that.
don't call it stuff that we think's gonna happen. We say
It's bold.
it's bold. Is that
That's
not bold?
That was a bold.
that's-
Some might say
that
stupid,
is-
some might say bold, but we're not saying, I think Dak Prescott's going to throw for 260 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Zeke's running for 150, baby. Woo!
Can't wait.
Now,
Can't wait.
that's too bold. Now that's
JC,
it's too bold for my blood.
let this, I get it, you're a journalist.
Okay,
Let it
you
out of
want
your
a bold
system.
prediction here?
Yeah,
Dak
dude.
Prescott lands on his ass 6 times this game. The Bucs get after
Whoa!
him.
You know what?
all
I
game.
honestly don't find that bold. I find that possible.
Oh,
so
fine.
JC,
Yes, why not 10?
Hey, JC, you're gonna have to up. You're crazy, son. Let's hear. Say something that we're gonna be like, no, dude, that's
6
fucking
sacks.
nuts.
6
Give us something crazy. Leonard Fournette doesn't have an asthma attack. Let's start with that.
Hey, we'll take
Oh,
Leonard
man.
Fournette get 75 yards.
So it is going to be a bittersweet if Fatty Fournette goes off
Fatty Fournette.
because AJ and I took him.
You have him in fantasy.
We have him
Draft
in
him.
fantasy.
We did
We
draft
drafted
him.
him.
Good move. Good move.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought it. So
Honestly,
that's why I feel like our RB1 we could say Fatty
So
Fournette.
Fatty
when
Fournette,
you're
yeah.
talking him up, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's why we drafted
You
him.
just
you-
change your
if you-
fantasy name
If
to
you
that.
motherfuckers cheer for
Fatty
Fournette,
Fournettes?
if you guys cheer when Fournette scores a touchdown, I will be
The
very
Fatty
no.
Fournettes.
No, we're
I'll
we're
eat
doing
a cheeseburger every time he scores a touchdown.
we're doing under the table high fives.
Hey,
But
so
I think plus 6 sacks is
Don't leave
a
him
pretty,
hanging.
is
Yeah, that's
pretty
good.
good.
Wow. What an asshole.
what?
You just left him hanging. He was
I
he
know.
was
Oh,
there with
yes.
his. There you go.
There you go.
Now you're holding hands again.
Yeah, I know. We always
Yeah,
get
this happens about
3
42
times.
times during a cast. So it's actually they're on the under. People were betting that it would happen 12 times. They've only done 2. I'm impressed.
No, that's 3. That's 3 now.
Oh, 3?
yeah.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
trying
that
to
is
make up
three.
for it.
JC's been counting.
Okay, we got to do
Yeah.
scores. We got to do scores.
JC said 27-20 for
20.
the Bucs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going 27.
You can't
17.
say you can't go 27.
27-17 for the
I hope
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
The
obviously.
Bucs.
Not the Bucks.
Yeah.
27-17 Cowboys.
I'm gonna go 45.
Woo! It's gonna be.
No, I'm gonna dial down. I'm gonna
Okay.
say I don't think it's gonna be as defensive. Week 1's a weird week too, right? Like week 1's weird. So I think it has a better chance of being a higher scoring game than a low scoring game.
Oh, see, I'm on the other side of that.
You think it's you think you're going D? You obviously went 27-20.
You know, I love the D.
Love the D, baby.
He loves
Hey,
that
we all-
Cox.
Guys like the Cox.
Jabril
We love
Cox.
the D. I mean, come on.
Welcome to the cast. I'm gonna go 34-31 Cowboys. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I have to. I mean, I can't say the Bucs are gonna. You know what?
Put
Even
that
if
shit
I,
on.
What was the Bucks
Put
score?
that shit
34 to-
on.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the AB. We're doing the AB.
34 to what?
I said 34-31 Cowboys.
Okay.
I think it's going to be I honestly do think it's going to be a higher scoring game.
I say 28-27, and that's because I believe the Cowboys could score 28 points, and so I have to go one less.
So you're
Okay,
saying,
now say what you really feel. How much did the Bucs win by?
I don't think they're going to win.
No.
This is my biggest thing. We start off the season against the Bucs and the Bengals, obviously. I just want to go 1-1. If we lose to Tampa, we have to beat Cincy. I
Okay.
do think we can beat Tampa, though. I don't think like everyone thinks we're this dog shit team. Dak Prescott is still an arguably top 10 quarterback. He
I
is.
don't agree with that.
He is. Zeke is still serviceable. Tony Pollard's serviceable.
Thank you.
We're gonna run 12 personnel.
150 yards, bitch.
Well, I mean, anyone that doesn't think Zeke can get out there and run, yeah, we ran 56 yards. You can't say that. Micah Parsons, you can't look at last year's stats and think of what's gonna happen this year. We've shown him and you can't even look at preseason.
You can't, but I think in the one area where you can is how consistent the Bucs run defense has been. It's been a top 3 unit the last 4 years. I don't think that changes this year, especially in week 1.
Well, we hope so.
I know you hope so,
We
but
hope
it's
so.
not.
It's
not.
We hope so though. But this wouldn't be much of a show if I'm.
You
just
know
like,
where I think you're
right,
wrong there too?
You're right. We're gonna run for 22 yards.
No, well, you know where
Everything I
you know
said,
where
you think I'm wrong,
ultimately-
which is fine.
you know where it ultimately falls apart there. I agree with you on special teams. It ultimately falls apart
One
because
phase of the game, buds.
Jason Garrett said that the Cowboys should run Zeke all night long.
Oh
So
God!
Jason
Don't
Garrett
bring up
is
the
saying
don't
that.
bring up the clapper ever again.
You-
on this podcast.
Good luck. Good luck.
Do not bring up the clapper.
If they
ever
run
again.
Jason Garrett's game plan to run Zeke all night long, it's going to be a very long night for you guys.
You know what the
so.
best part about this is? We could talk till we're blue in the faces. We got to see what happens. It might be a blowout for the Bucs. It might not be. It's going to be a good game. Sunday Night Football. I think we can all agree that we're all jacked up. That football's back. I'm just excited to see Cowboys football again. You're probably excited to be able to go cover a real Bucs game, not preseason, not training camp. You're probably just jacked up to be able to talk season football again.
Actually, I have one.
And watch my Pats. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I have one question before we call it out here. So you said at the beginning you weren't a Bucs fan, but you're covering the Bucs because it's your job. So who, deep down,
Massachusetts, you
like-
said, right? So you would have
America's team, the real America's team, the
Dallas
Patriots.
Cowboys?
Oh.
The Patriots, the one who liberated the you know.
So did you only take the job at to write about the Bucs because
No,
Brady came
so
over?
I'll get into this how it all happened real quick. So I moved down here in 2019, relocated from my wife's job. I figured, hey, the Bucs, the Pats and the Bucs only play each other once every 4 years. I'm a football fan first and foremost. If the Patriots disappeared, I would still be a football fan. So I'm like, you know what? I live in Tampa now. It's kind of the hometown team. Let's support the Bucs a little bit. Brought my kids to training camp, to a couple games, and it was a Jameis Winston season. That was crazy. But then you fast forward until after that season, and I wrote this. There was so much contention. Where's Tom Brady going to go? Is he going to come back to the Pats? Is he going to go to the Raiders? Is he going to go to the Chargers? What's he going to do? And I wrote this long, page long paragraph on my Facebook wall saying, hey, why not Tampa? Laid out all the reasons, Florida, no state tax, the weapons here. I got roasted by all my friends on there. They're
Bold
like, "You're
prediction,
crazy.
right? Bold
You're
prediction.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction. You're crazy.
150 to Zeke, baby.
Fast forward to March, and lo and behold, Tom Brady freaking signs with the Bucs. Crazy. So,
Boner alert.
as you guys know, go ahead, hit it.
Boner alert.
Okay, thank you.
As you guys,
JC's right in on it. He knows.
I'm
it's
already
happening.
on. You guys probably in Dallas. You guys probably have, because Texas football is so big. You guys probably have your own sports stations, right? That just is just.
Oh yeah, up
talking
in
about
Canada, we
sports.
get tons of Dallas sports.
Oh yeah,
stations.
that's right. You guys aren't whatever, but whatever. So
We know what
you
you're
guys are
saying.
hockey stations. So up in
Lots of
Boston,
hockey.
there's 2 dedicated sports channels just to Boston sports. So down in Tampa, I'm like, okay, who the hell is talking about Tom Brady signing? Where can I find it? I go on, Fox Florida. It's NASCAR and bass fishing. I'm like, this
Really?
is not what I'm looking for.
Wow.
So besides the local radio stations, they don't have any channels they're doing 3-minute segments on the news. So I go on Facebook and whatever, and I found this podcast that's kind of like what you guys do, live podcast, take comments on the air, but he also takes phone calls as well. So I called in, which you can do with a Roadcaster pod if you set it up.
Yeah, we've done it.
Yep.
But so I called in and I'm like, listen, this is about Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. I know him. I watched him 20 years. This is what you guys can expect. A week later, Gronk comes. This is what you can expect. So after, coming on as a call-in guest, they asked, hey, you want to come on as a scheduled guest? I'm
Nice.
like, yeah, sure. Couple weeks of that, they asked me if I did any writing. I'm like, not since college, not on sports. So I'm like, but hell, shit, I'll give it a shot. So I gave that a shot. I ended up getting my own show a couple months later. Got myself credentialed through the Bucs and through the NFL. Fast
Nice.
forward a year. I'm huge into the offseason and the draft, and it was still, COVID time, so everything was done on Zoom. So like every pro day that was opening, the players all spoke on Zoom. So I'm sitting here with my iPad, my laptop, my phone open, and 3 different, Zoom meetings for like pro days, compiling a list of all these guys who have either talked to the Bucs, either coaches, who they talked to, whatever. And Pewter Report, who I work for now, I was talking to them a lot through like Spotify Live, which is kind of like Twitter Spaces for Spotify. We developed a relationship, met him at rookie minicamp for the first time. 2 weeks later, he's like, hey, do you want to come work for Pewter Report? Which is like one of the top outlets down here.
Nice.
Obviously you have the 4-letter networks with ESPN and NFL Network, and then
Yep.
the local newspaper and the Athletic. But Pewter Report's right there as like that at that next level. So it's a huge opportunity for me. Credentialed, kind of blowing up.
Dude, your origin story is awesome.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
dope.
Your
Crazy.
your
Just
origin
a fan.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, it makes the conversation, specifically like going down the list and having the objective or subjective, which I mean, look, I'm not a writer. I don't give a fuck if it's distinguished or
Objectivity.
distinguished.
Zing!
Zinger.
Yeah, so like I think the fact that you're kind of looking at it, obviously, not even as a Bucs fan, but just you're kind of looking at the whole thing, as an outside and just a fan of football, does make me respect some of your choices. But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
loved having. Maybe shout
Yeah.
out your stuff again. Just give it a shout out. We loved having you on. Love shooting the shit. Love
Absolutely.
talking football. Love bullshitting. Love it's fun to.
He loves you.
I love you.
He loves you.
I love you so much.
I love Lamp.
I love Lamp. But yeah, shoot at your socials one more time and we'll call this bitch out.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, guys, too. And like, I'm 35. I was 32 when I broke into this. I had no idea I'd ever do it. So like, hey, anyone out there who's still trying to get into this or whatever, just keep grinding. Like, you never know how your opportunity is gonna pop up. But with that being said, Pewter Report, you can find all my work. We've got tons of stuff out there right now. Pre-game, post, comparing last year to this year, keys to the game, etc. And then my socials, at JC Allen NFL on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me. I'm a one-stop shop for anything Bucs. You want to follow, for the season, for just information, shits and giggles, just for this week, and then unfollow me. Do whatever people got to do. But yeah, guys, hell of a time. I plan on being here for an hour. It's an hour and 47 minutes.
It's
later.
how it always happens. It's how it always
I could have
happens.
done this. I could have done this for another 20 minutes.
Oh, we're
but
this. Yeah,
Hey.
definitely.
it's a great show.
We
Who
appreciate.
says Canadians are trash, right?
Right? Exactly. I don't think anyone.
I hope not anybody.
We're all the way tucked up, all the way tucked down here. Who knows, right? Like,
Well,
The only thing that could have made this podcast better if you drank some maple syrup on it. But
hey,
maybe
don't
next time.
don't bet us. All
shit.
right. So where are you going?
Oh, the camera's going off.
So for the bandwagon boys and for myself, Anthbest, we're gonna be here Sunday night and we're gonna see what happens. That's the best part about it. The shit is gonna fly, and I can't wait to talk to you again, buddy.
Maybe
Have a
I'll
good
pop
season.
in
I hope you stay
post-game.
healthy. Yeah, post game definitely. We'll be fucking doing this for show.
Peace.
Oh.